I wanted to share this video with you because I was really surprised at how well that I could hear the sound of the trolling motor and that deep down in the water column. I was really surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. And so I wanted to share this video with you. So to just give you some insight to this video and this footage, I had came to the lake and there was some structure that I have fished for a couple of years but really didn't know what was down there. And at certain times the fish would be all around that structure and you just could not get them to bite. And so I got to thinking that particular day when I dropped the GoPro down, I said, maybe this is a school of big brim or something down there. I said, let me see what it is. And so unbeknownst to me, I dropped the GoPro down and this water was approximately 14 to 17 feet range. And as that GoPro was in that area, you know, of course you can hear the line winding up on the reel because it's braided line. I wanted some heavy line so I wouldn't, in case I got the GoPro hung, I wouldn't lose it. And I was amazed at how much I could hear that trolling motor. And I could hear the water slapping on the bottom of the boat, just like I can now at 14 to 17 foot deep. And as we all know, crappie, you know, if you bump the bottom of the boat, on live scope, I've seen crappie just shoot out. So this is one of the reasons when you get to your fishing spot and you you spot locked and your trolling motor's working real hard, you know, all that noise dissipates out into the water column and the fish just know you're there. So hey, if you enjoy content about fishing, fishing tips, fishing secrets, and how to be a better fisherman, then hit that subscribe button below. It really helps my channel and I appreciate it. You know, here's one thing that you can do. One of the things that I do when I get to a location and my trolling motor's working a lot is I'll cut the spot lock off. Now, I know that's not possible for some of you guys, but I have a foot control on this one and I can control it with my foot, and I'll stay back, you know, 30 feet or so away from the fish, and I'll just keep the trolling motor bumped up while I keep my live scope on the structure, or I cast or whatever, or drop a buoy or whatever. Dropping a buoy is a great way to mark your location, and that way if you catch a fish, you drift off, you come back, and you don't spook those fish as quick. So tip number 2, if you have to spot lock, a remote control around your neck or whatever, stay back 30 feet and start out casting to those fish. Now a lot of times with some brush, that's not possible because there's so much brush, you just get hung up. You just have to remember to run that lure over top of the fish versus allowing it to sink down into the fish. And if you know the depth of the water, you can count it down. A 1/16 drops roughly a foot, foot and a half per second. So if the top of the brush is 15 feet, you count about 12 seconds and wind it real slow with the lure coming back over the brush. If you're vertical jigging right over it, if those fish are shallower, then those fish are going to probably either go down in the brush. So if you're fishing a structure less than 20 feet deep and you get right over top of it and that trolling motor's sitting there working, those fish are going to do more than likely one or two things. They're going to drop down around tight in that brush, tighter. Not saying they won't bite. They're going to drop down tighter in that brush, or the bigger ones a lot of times will move away 15, 20, 30 feet away. Now to combat that, a couple of things you can do is you can spot lock or mark your brush in some sort of way, stay back about 25 to 30 feet, cast to those fish. The clearer the water, the further you got to stay back as a rule of thumb. You can cast to those fish and try to catch them. Normally that's what I do, and then I will move up right on top of the brush and vertical jig it if I need to, especially if they've got down tight. And you can still catch a few fish that way. So the fourth thing that you can do is if you move up, catch a few fish, and you can tell when the fish get spooky. They'll be all around the brush or all around the boat dock or whatever. Uh, they'll be all around the brush, and then what they'll start doing is they'll start getting real tight ball right in the center of the brush and kind of hiding. And some of them will move away. So you move up, catch a few fish. If you're vertical jigging, float away. Wait 10 or 15 minutes and come right back to the brush. And I always take the time to look all the way 360 degrees around that brush. And many times you'll find some big crappie out away from the brush. So while you drop back and you cast, fan casting around, or if you got live scope, you may be able to see them away from the brush. You can catch a few fish and then move back up to the brush. Now that's just some tips that I do that may help you to combat this noise. But this is some of the reason that these fish move away and get spooky and don't bite, is because of this noise. And I wanted to share this video with you because I was really surprised at how well that I could hear the sound of the trolling motor and that deep down in the water column. I was really surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. And so I wanted to share this video with you. So if you're a spider rigger and you're pushing forward, you need to keep your rods longer, because those crappie are going to know the boat's coming. A minimum of 14 foot, 16 is even better, minimum 14 foot. So if you're pushing the boat forward, they're going to hear the trolling motor coming, and they're going to also see the shout of the boat, and they're going to feel the vibrations of the boat, hear the water slapping on them. Those fish are going to move away if you're pushing towards them. Now if you're trolling, that's an entirely different story out the back of the boat. That's for another discussion at another day. But if you're pushing forward, you need 14 or 16 foot rods. If you're easing along, pushing baits early in the spring, especially if it's shallow, those fish are going to move out and away from the boat, and then they're going to come back behind the boat. So if you're fishing with 10 foot rods, 12 foot rods, pushing, I'm not saying you're not going to catch some fish, but you're going to be more successful if you've got 14 to 16 foot rods in that situation too. So I hope all that helps you when we're talking about the noise and the sound of the boat. Hey guys, we're getting ready to end this video. Hope you've seen something in the video that you enjoyed. Hope you've seen something in the video that you learned. If you like wildlife adventures outside, fishing and hunting channel, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, hit the like button, click the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Wildlife Adventures. I always like to end my videos by saying, God is good. Say it with me. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Don't forget to click on the next video that's coming up. I think it'll be right over here with more wildlife adventures. Hey, you remember, it's a wildlife, and I'll see you on the water.